There are a few shows in the sea of media constantly being released that really change or challenge storytelling in television. Most people picture The Sopranos changing drama, Seinfeld changing comedy, and Avatar The Last Airbender changing animation. The same is the case for anime, with examples like Attack on Titan and Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood coming to mind. Although Western audiences have been opening up significantly more to enjoying anime as a pastime, most would agree that the skyrocketing popularity over the last 6 years have led to an increase of really simplistic and generic storytelling. However, back in 2007, one anime would be written with the ability to change the way we interpret animated media, or at the bare minimum provide an example as to how uncomfortable animated media can be without being overtly graphic and while still being mesmerizing. Mononoke is the definition of a cult classic anime, having a small but loyal fanbase praising it for being incredibly well written and daring with its sheer uncomfortability factor. In fact, a movie trilogy is currently being finished, with the last one set to release this year. With a loyal fanbase and 3 movies within the last 3 years, it really begs 2 questions. Is it worth it? And why haven't more people heard of the show? The plan is to find it out together in this video.
Scooby-Doo so bad!
A spin-off of 2006's Ayakashi Samurai Horror Tales, Mononoke takes place after the events of the last 3 episodes. Set in between the Edo period and the Meiji era, aka the 1870s, the show follows a medicine seller on a quest to rid the world of Mononoke. The best way I can describe what Mononoke are is the physical representation of bad thoughts, intentions, and actions, like guilt, lust, revenge, in the form of spirits. Ayakashi are extremely similar to Mononoke, varying mostly in the type of spirit they appear as. As if his lavish outfit, elvish complexion, and seductive voice didn't make him stand out enough, the medicine seller sports a magical sword to slay the Mononoke, in which he requires the shape, truth, and reason before doing so. AKA, he just needs to know what it looks like, what it's doing there, and why before he's able to, quote, walk him down. Like its predecessor, Mononoke is an anthology series, changing characters, locations, and story every 2 to 3 episodes after each Mononoke is slain. The only recurring character is the medicine seller, with the general premise staying the same. He shows up to specific locations, seemingly at the right place at the right time, with at least one other character being involved with the Mononoke. After doing some detective work, and letting the story play out, he exorcises the Mononoke, and moves on to the next location. With a story as simple as this, it's hard to imagine at first glance how this can be seen as anything other than a low-budget, experimental anime that comes across as just weird and off-putting, but that's the point.
When I was a kid, I used to mess about with a quiche board.
Once you get deeper into Mononoke, you start to realize literally everything about this anime makes you feel uncomfortable. The art style, forgive my mispronunciation, mimicking ukiyo-e, an old Japanese art style related to folklore, utilizes clashing colors and exaggerated features accurate to the genre down to the texture of paper to make the audience never fully be able to rest their eyes throughout the show. Constantly pulling your attention away from one thing to the next, paired with the hard cuts between scenes, makes it incredibly confusing and disorienting at times, conveying the same feeling each of the side characters are going through, minus the whole fear of dying part. But that isn't the only reason why the art style is so peculiar. It needs your attention constantly on the screen because the anime is reliant on a show-don't-tell writing style, choosing not to delve too deep into dialogue to build suspense and an atmosphere of both implication and confusion. It leaves certain parts of the story up to the audience's interpretation to let their imagination run wild. We're even made to doubt the protagonist's motives at times, unsure if he truly cares about the lives of the other people involved, or if he hunts Mononoke purely for the love of the game. His presence in the anime is both oddly comforting and borderline stressful, as his indifference makes it hard to tell if he's in control of the situation or just going with the flow. Even characters who've interacted with him before noted his infatuation with the kill, making it hard to gauge his true intentions. The pacing adds to this confusion, his speech patterns often being slow and deliberate, juxtaposed by the sudden movements of the camera, and the habit of intentionally blending gradual and intense moments to not let the watcher truly feel comfortable. At no point is it clear when the Mononoke will strike, or even if what the characters are experiencing is real or just a hallucination. The goal is to keep everyone questioning every little detail, every moment for something to happen, making the experience as excruciatingly unbearable as possible. It is hard to find genuine horror in animated television, but to create a sense of unease and subtle horror, everything needs to be done right. The sound design especially works its way into that uncanny territory. The harsh, evocative sounds, the eerie music building up to an uncomfortable silence, Mononoke effortlessly implements these tools to let the audience once again imagine, almost physically feel, what each character experiences in that moment, placing us there almost as a bystander. From the moment the episode starts, you are plunged into a puzzle slowly being pieced together, like a painting done one layer at a time. We are both the medicine seller and the side character, knowing as little about the entire situation as they do, being fed these pieces to the story as time goes on. Like how the medicine seller always seems to talk like he's playing mind games, the side characters seem to keep their mouths shut about their involvement, not understanding anything about the situation unfolding in front of them. It is up to the medicine seller to work this information out of them, while simultaneously protecting them from being taken by the Mononoke. The unorthodox way of storytelling Mononoke presents is the definition of the word surreal. Could it be classified as experimental? Probably. But I will say this. Mononoke's art, dialogue, pacing, and camera work just so happen to perfectly do what it aimed to. Could it all just be a coincidence? Sure, but it could also be just as intentional. I wouldn't consider myself particularly smart. However, even after I watched this anime, it left me completely at a loss, knowing I just watched something so out of the ordinary, so intriguing, that I had to tell people about it, which led to this video. To be able to create something so vivid and, dare I say, boundary-breaking, is not to be taken lightly.
Yeah, well, screw you too, your club's lame!
Not only did Mononoke not have a manga to bolster its popularity or credibility before its release, Mononoke's appeal just never seemed to reach audiences outside those who were interested in searching for it. It seems the topics covered in the anime were not done in a way palatable to the general population, and most people either didn't see any marketing for it, or were simply disinterested in it if they did. Granted, not every piece of media is easy to market, especially with a show going against everything traditionally seen. This is an occurrence a lot of experimental and surreal media tend to go through, with many being lost over time. It also seems to be mostly region-locked in its popularity, with stage plays being done in Japan based on the show's contents. It isn't surprising, seeing as though everything about the show screams Japan. From a historical, cultural, and folklore standpoint, Mononoke caters to Japan for its main fanbase. However, like other cult classics, Mononoke seemed to go through a bit of a renaissance, no doubt due in part to the COVID pandemic, with everyone rushing online to spend their time consuming anything and everything they could. Never have I seen an anime do it quite like this, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think I will again. Mononoke has managed to pull off what other anime haven't, leaving the audience feeling mystified, completely and utterly bamboozled at what they had just watched. Many people don't go to anime for its complexity and its storytelling, and certainly not for surrealist performances to push the limits of what television can do. Hell, my favorite anime is Dragon Ball Z, but Mononoke scratches that itch that requires something more, something boldly unique that makes you take a step back and wonder just what led you here, to where you are in this moment. The smooth voice of the medicine seller, the unrelenting bombardment of sounds and colors, and the unyielding mystery that is the Mononoke is an attack on your senses, distinguishing itself from other shows on similar subjects because it uses every aspect of the medium to tell a story. It almost comes across as arrogant, practically exclaiming its status as an art piece, avant-garde, if you will. Every aspect of this anime is done for the sole purpose of invoking a response, and it does so with an efficiency not seen in many other shows, and it knows it. Having no restrictions with source material, and with limitless avenues to go with folklore, Mononoke managed to turn into a one-of-a-kind experience that made viewers reconsider what exactly they were watching. Mononoke is more than just an anime. It is an endeavor into the unknown, blending static art with dynamic, sparing no effort to embrace itself as unconventional. It takes direct inspiration from Cubism, incorporating it into its already surreal performance. As an avid watcher of dub, let me just say the English voice actor for the medicine seller really knocked this performance out of the park.
I just want to stay overnight. And that's it.
His cadence, tone, and diction were spot on, and added so much to the story, and it really cemented Mononoke as one of the most interesting animes I've watched. I love watching anime. I love its high highs and low lows, and how I can find hidden gems while doom scrolling on Crunchyroll's browsing option. That's literally how I found Mononoke, and watching it was definitely one of the best decisions I made. From the beginning to the end, I was hooked throughout the entire thing, with the art, dialogue, and pacing sticking out like a sore thumb in the best way possible. Like, it vividly replays in my mind whenever I'm reminded of its existence. If you ever need a show to watch while high, I highly recommend this anime. Or even if you just want something to overanalyze, kinda like me, this one is a really good choice. Mononoke is beautifully strange, so freakishly unique, and deserves to be more known than it is. Hello everybody, I'm back, just doing some obligatory plugging. I stream on Twitch, so that's cool. I also have an Instagram, which is also cool. Both of those are going to be in the description of the video. I am trying to take this a bit more seriously this year. So If you guys want to join, please, subscribe. Liking the video would also help. Yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be awesome. Hopefully this is a great year. Hopefully.